Come get rid of me as I talk about this really annoying man that I'm currently dealing with. So, a little backstory, I used to give this guy rides home the beginning of school year. We were pretty good friends, but he always made little flirty jokes with me and my friends, but we just brush it off as being part of his personality because he was always doing it. I am in a committed relationship, and when he would get kind of weird like this, I would bring up my boyfriend and be like, oh my god, he texted me this really cute thing, just to let him know that I was not interested in the moves that he was trying to make on me. He would usually get the hint and he would stop flirting with me after I bring up my boyfriend, but one day I had to take him home alone because one of my friends had stayed home from school and I was supposed to pick her up after I dropped him off so that we could hang out or something. So we're walking up to my car and he says something like, oh, is it just me today? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, finally some alone time with Riley. Weirdo. And I just kind of was like, yeah, haha, trying to diffuse the situation before it starts, you know? As we're in the car, he starts to literally confess his love for me, saying that I should break up with my boyfriend and that he would leave his girlfriend for me. I looked at him and I was like, no, I am literally in love with my boyfriend and I would not want to leave him. And then I was like, are you happy in your relationship? Because it doesn't seem like it if you are flirting with me. And he's like, yeah, of course I'm happy in my relationship. We're going to be going to the gym to try to fix it because they've been on and off for a while. And they were just talking for a little bit after they had recently broken up. So I was just like, you don't seem that happy. Other things were said, but this was a while ago, probably a month ago, and I have terrible memory, so I don't remember everything that he said, but he was basically just trying to get me to leave my boyfriend for him and that he would leave his girlfriend. And I'm not going to lie, I was pretty selfish about this whole thing because I was really only thinking about myself. I didn't even think about the fact that he had a girlfriend. So I stopped taking him home from school after that day. I completely ignored him, did not talk to him for a while, and that was that basically. I told my friends everything that he said, and I went and picked up my other friend right away instead of waiting to drop him off because I felt uncomfortable. Go to part 2. This is part 2 of the story of the really weird guy that I'm currently dealing with right now. So yeah, I stopped talking to him after this whole thing because I just did not want to be a part of that, and I just realized, this is now a month ago, last night, I was like, I never told his girlfriend, and I don't like conflict like that, but I just know if I was in that situation, I would want to know. So I texted her, and I was like, oh, hey, so I know you probably don't want to hear this through Instagram DM because I didn't even know her like that, but I was like, but basically your boyfriend confessed his love to me, and she was like, I need you to FaceTime me right now. I told her the whole story of everything that happened, and he came to her house in the middle of our conversation. It was so awkward. He was just standing there, and I was on the phone, just so confused. She told him everything that I had said, and was basically we're done. And then she took it pretty well. Yeah, she cried, but it wasn't she kind of felt like this would happen because apparently they had problems like this in the past. And she was thanking me about telling her, saying that if she just really wanted to know that happened, and I said that I was sorry because I was totally being selfish and only thinking about myself since this had happened, and I totally forgot to tell her what her boyfriend had said. Since he was literally at her house when this whole situation was happening, he was completely lying about everything, and I mean everything. At first he was like, I don't remember that ever happening, and then he was like, well, if it did happen, it was a joke, and then he was like, it never happened. So 3 different stories right there within that sentence, and he was all pissed off, and then he tried to turn it on her, saying, well, you were talking to other guys, but that was before they were together, because they had taken a break for a couple months, and she was talking to other guys, but it was never anything like that. And she stopped when they had gotten back together. See, he didn't, and that is the problem. And I never gave him another ride after that day, even though he's trying to say that I definitely did. It's just really taking me off how much he's lying right now. I know he's doing it to try to cover it so that he can still have his girlfriend, but I'm sorry. She deserved to know. He then continued to try to turn it on me, saying, oh, well, you talked about her. I didn't even know her. There was not a single reason for me to do that. So it doesn't add up. So anyways, she thanked me last night. We went to bed. He left her house. And then I get a text this morning saying, like, from him, and it's like literally a whole book basically saying that he never told me to leave my boyfriend for him and that he would leave his girlfriend, even though that was like the main thing that I remember, because it literally threw me off guard so much. Like, I was so in shock from that whole conversation, and he would like tell me bits and pieces of the conversation and try to justify them, but then he would continue to tell me that the conversation never happened. And I told him, I was like, there's no reason for me to lie to you or to her, because it's not that I want you. Obviously I don't want you, because that's why we're in this situation. But I was like, there's no reason for me to lie, so how are you saying I'm lying? And then I told him that he's basically lying to himself, because literally it happened and he knows it happened.
I am so hesitant to make this video because it's genuinely the most horrifyingly embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. But I gotta keep it real and you guys wanna know, so I'm doing it for y'all. So I was on a date, and this was not recent, okay? So at least just know that. And we had just gone out to eat at Sauce, and then we were planning on going shopping afterwards. So we had just pulled up and parked in front of the place we were about to go shopping at. Started to get that feeling where I just really needed to pass gas. Hot girls have stomach issues, okay? I wasn't just gonna let it rip, but I was having like unbearable stomach cramps from trying to hold it in. And you know when you can feel like this one's gonna be silent, like no one's gonna know, like you can just tell. So I was like, okay, I think it's gonna be fine. I can do this incognito. But if I try to hold this in for any longer, like I am going to die. And 9 times out of 10, my farts actually do not have any scent to them. So I'm like, okay, it'll be fine. And this was not one of those 9 times. So thankfully it was actually silent, but I felt something. And I was like, am I tripping, or I think I just shat myself? And if you think it can't get any worse, you'd be wrong. I look over at my boyfriend and I'm like, I have to pee, like now. And he's like, oh, okay, like let me answer this text quick and then I'll come get you. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I need to go now. Not to mention I was literally in a white mini skirt. It was a skirt, but the shorts were like barely there. And he was like, oh, okay, like let me come let you out. So he opens the door for me. And of course the nearest bathroom is literally like a block away in this coffee shop, and I just start running. And my boyfriend's like trying to keep up with me, and he's like, what's wrong? Like you were fine 3 seconds ago. Like why do you all of a sudden have to pee so bad? And I don't even know why I lied to him about this, because me and my boyfriend like were in front of each other like all the time. I think I just didn't want to believe that I actually shat myself until I saw for myself. Finally get into the bathroom. The lock doesn't work. So I'm holding the door closed with my foot, and I checked, and not gonna go into detail, but there was definitely something in that sauce. So I clean myself up. I shove a wad of toilet paper in my underwear just in case. I was going through it. So I came out and thinking it can't get any worse. I tell my boyfriend everything. He's like, oh my gosh, like are you good? Do you want to just go home, or do you still want to go shopping? And there was a specific top I really wanted to buy from this boutique, so I was like, no, we are still shopping. I'm maintaining a positive attitude about today. Horrible mistake. We got into the boutique. I didn't even find anything I was looking for. I did try some stuff on, but I was still traumatized from what just happened, so I was like, let's just go. I walk out of the dressing room thinking this day couldn't get any worse. The girls that were working there were saying bye to me because I used to work at this boutique. And as I'm walking out, I noticed the toilet paper hanging all the way down my leg, stuck in my white skirt. Everyone can see it, and all the girls working there are looking at me. So I'm like trying to fix it as I'm like walking out the door, but I couldn't get it, so I just ran. Thankfully, my boyfriend stood behind me after that, so I couldn't embarrass myself any more than I already had. But I just wanted to dig a hole and bury myself in it and never come out ever again after that. So yeah, now you guys know the most horrible, embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. Now we're really besties.